Hello and welcome to the 8th video tutorial of this series. In this video tutorial, we are going to talk about list and its uses. So we already have an introduction of list in third or fourth video tutorial. Now we are going to learn list into more detail. So let's look into it. So first of all, we are going to learn why we should use list. So the requirement of list was, suppose we have a variable a and we are initializing the value 10. We have a variable b and we are initializing value 20. Similarly, if we have lot of variables like c and we have c, so we are initializing as 30. Suppose in the case where we have lot of values, suppose we have 100 of values, and in that case we want to store into the memory location. So in that scenario we have to create 100 variable over here like d and then e, then f, then g. So like this we have to initialize 100 variable to initialize all 100 values. So in case we have thousands of values, again we have to initialize 1000 variables and we have to initialize the values of that variable. So to avoid this scenario, we have list in our Python. So how we can use list? So suppose we have 100 of values, so those 100 of values can be added in one list and that one list can be referred with one variable. So suppose in this case I have taken a variable list and we are initializing all the values inside the list with 10, 20, 30 and 40. In case if we have hundreds of thousands of values, so all 100 or thousands of value can be initialized into a single list like this, and that list can be referred with a variable list a, my list, whatever value you want to give. So in this case I am giving a variable of the name of the variable is list and I am initializing its value with 10, 20, 30 and 40. So this was the requirement why list came in picture. Now we are going to look into the methods which is available into list. So first thing what we can do in list is we can get any particular values on the basis of index. So in case if you want to get the first value, so the index of first value is 0 because list or array starts from 0 index. To do that, we will write list and we will specify its index. So first of all, we want to get the first characters, we have to specify index 0. In case we want to get second index, we have to specify the index as 1. So I'll open the terminal from here, new terminal, and I will run this file with py and file name. File name is list.py. So you can see that you got an answer 10 because at 0 index we have 10 value. Now in case if I want to get the first index, and the first index is value second, which is 20. So now I'll run this file and you can see that we got 20 as an output. So this way we can get the value on the basis of index. In case you want to get the last index value, so you can write minus over here. So this will give you the last index value, which is 40. So now, so with the help of this bracket, you can get value on the basis of index. Now if you want to get any sub part of this list or sub list of this list, so in that case you can apply the same bracket, but in this case you have to specify the starting index and the end index. So the starting index is inclusive here. So suppose I want to get only this list, so in that case I have to specify the starting index, which is 1, because as I already have told you that array starts with 0 index. So if I want to get this value 20 and 30, so the index of 20 is, this is 0 and this is 1. So that's why I have specified the starting index as 1, and I will specify the end index, and that end index is this one. So because the end index are exclusive, so that's why we have to specify over here. So like 0, 1, 2 and 3, we have to specify 3 over here. So in this case, let's see what will be the answer. So we are expecting as an answer to get a list of 20 and 30 only. So let's run this file and let's see the output, and you can see that we got an answer 20 and 30. So as I already have told you that starting index is inclusive, that means we have to include that very value, and the end index is exclusive, that means we do not need to include that value. So in this case, the first index 20 has been included and the third index 40 is not included into the list. Now in case if you want to start your list from 20 and you do not want to specify the end index over here, so in that case the list will be after 20 all the values will come into the list. So now I want to get all the values from 20 after that till end. So I'll remove the end index from here and I will run this file, and you can see that we got 20, 30, 40 as an output, which is a subset of this list after 20. Similarly, if you want to get a list, you do not want to specify the first index, that means you want to get the list from starting but you want to get some value at the end. So if then in this case I do not want to get the 40 or 30 from here, so now I do not need to specify the first index, but I want to get the list till index 4. So as I already have told you, the end index is not inclusive. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So we do not have 4 actually, we can write 3. In this case, we will get the whole list, and the whole list, not the whole list, but till index 3, which is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So this way we can specify starting index and ending index as well. And if you do not want to specify the first index, you can specify only last one, and similarly you can specify only last index but not the first one. So this was the method how we can get any part of a list with the help of this bracket. So we can specify or get a part of the list. Now second thing, we are moving on how we can display this whole list, so one by one. So now let's see that in case if I want to display the first index, so I have to write list 0. Similarly, if I want to print second index, so I have to write list 1. So let's see what will be the answer. So you can see that we got an answer 10 and 20 because we tried to display the 0 index and the first index. But in the case if you have lots of or hundreds of thousands of value in this list, so we have to write print statement that number of time, either 100 or 1000, but we do not want to do this. So to avoid the scenario, we have for loop. So we can write for, and we can write an operator. We can take a value x in and we can specify the list name. The list name is list. I'll write it over here, and now I can write print, and I will write this x variable. So I will write it over here. So what it will do is it will apply a for loop on this list, and it will iterate the list over the values from 0 index till the last index. So all the values, the 10, 20, 30 and 40, the value will be of the variable x. So whenever I am writing print x, so every time it is iterating the value from 0 to last index. So let's see what will be the value now, and you can see that we got a value 10, 20, 30, 40 because this for loop iterates the list from 0 index till last index, and that value one by one, 10, 20, 30, 40 will be initialized to variable x or assigned to variable x, and we are displaying it with the help of print statement. So that's why we are able to print the whole list with the help of for loop. Now if you want to get the length of the list, similarly we already know that we have a method len which is available into string as well. So we can specify len method over here, and we can pass the list variable. Now if I'll run it, I'll get a value 4 as an output. Okay, I did not get anything because I did not print over here. Once I'll apply the print function to print the value on console, then I can see that I got an answer 4, which is the length of this list. So with the help of len method, you can print the length, or you can get the length of a list. And now second scenarios applies when we want to add any element in the list. So to add an element in list, what we can do, we can apply an append method over here. So append method takes a parameter which you want to append at the end of the list. So we want to add 50 at the end of this list. And now if I try to print this list, so let's see what will be the answer. You can see that we got 50 appended into existing list. So this way we can append a value. Now second thing, if you want to insert any particular value in this list at any specified position, so you can also do that, but you have to apply a method insert over here. So in insert method you have to pass two things. The first thing, which is index, and the second thing, which is value which you want to insert. So in this case I will write list dot insert, and which index we want to insert. Suppose we want to insert it after 20, so we have to specify the index after 20. So index of 20 is 0 1, so we have to specify 2 because we want to insert at second index, and the value we want to insert is 60, or okay, we will insert 60 at second index. Now let's run this file, and we are expecting to get result 10 20 60 and then 30 and 40. Okay, we got an error. Sorry, this was just an example. I was trying to explain you that what parameters it takes. So we have to remove this line. Now again, let's run this file, and you can see, okay, we did not display anything. Now I'll try to print list, and I'll run this file. You can see that we got an answer whatever we expected: 10 20 60 30 and 40. So this way we can insert a value at any specified position. So next thing, we are trying to, okay, this was the method how we can append at the end, and we can add the value at any specified position. Now if we want to remove any value from this index, so in that case we have to write list dot remove. Remove is the method which takes the value as an input. So the value which we want to remove is 30. Suppose we want to remove 30 from this list. So now, and after removing this, I'll try to print this method. I'll try to print this list so that we can see whether 30 has been removed or not. So I'll run this file, and you can see that 30 has been removed from this list because we have applied remove method over here. Similarly, if you want to delete all the elements from this list, so either you can write dot remove 10, and similarly dot remove 20, and similarly dot remove 30. But this is not a good way to remove all the list at once. We can use list dot, and the method which is available is clear. So it will clear the whole list, and in case if I try to print this list, I definitely should not get anything as an output because we have applied clear method over here. Now if I print it, you can see that list is empty because we have added clear statement over here. Now second thing, now the next thing which we want to learn is that how we can copy the whole list into a new list. So I am taking a new variable as new list, and in this case if I try to initialize it with empty, so now if I print it, and definitely you can see that print list new list is empty because we have not initialized any value over here. But second thing, to initialize this, we can see we can write 10 20 30. So this way also the value can be initialized. But what if we want to initialize this value with already existing list, or if we want to copy the existing list into a new list? So to do that, we can do two things. First, we can directly write list over here. So let's now display it, and we'll definitely get 10 20 30 40 as new list because directly we have initialized list into the new list. But here is a problem. In this scenario, what we are doing is we are trying to copy the object, or we are trying to copy the object of list object into new list object. So this will be a problem because every time we will try to change the value of list, that value will be changed or reflected for new list as well. So let's see how it will work. So in this case, suppose if I try to append a value 50 in list list, which is old list, but we are not really doing anything into new list. So still we are trying to print it. So now let's see, if we print it, we can see that we have printed new list, but we had initialized only with list, and the list value was 10, 20, 30, 40. And we again try to add 50 in old list, but we did not add it into new list. But you can see from the output that 50 has been added our new list. So this was the problem which will arise if we try to directly initialize the object into a new list. So to avoid this scenario, we have to write a method which is available. So the method is list.copy. So I'll write, I want to copy the value of this list, so that list into and dot copy. So now the values will be copied into new list, not the whole list. So now if I'll try to do this, if I'll print it, is even though I have changed or I have added a value 50 in list, which is old list, but new list has not been impacted because we did not initialize the object, but we initialize the copy of the object, which is the value of the object. So this was the most important thing which we learned in this tutorial, that what will happen if we directly copy list in a new list and if we copy list.copy in a new list. So if you have any doubt in these methods, you can write into the comment section. So now the last thing which we are going to learn in this tutorial is to append two lists. So we have a list 2. Suppose I have a list 1 and this list 2, and inside this list I am appending 50, 60 and 70. I mean initializing list 2 with 50, 60, 70 value. Now if I want to perform concatenation of these two lists, so also that can be done with the help of plus operator. List 1 dot list 2, what it will do, it will append 10, 20, 30, 40, and it will append list 2 at the end of list first. So I'll run this file and you can see that the output is 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So with this way we can perform the concatenation between two lists.